Make some noise for your top 8 finalists. The 2018 Overwatch World Cup begins right now. Take it away, Golden Boy.
Welcome to the 28th best players in the world are here to represent their countries.
Moving on to the third World Cup quarterfinal of the day, we do have China taking on Finland. I do have a feeling that this one is going to be very close. A lot of people have been underrating the Chinese Overwatch World Cup roster. I do feel a lot of them are very talented. Again, last night I talked about the Shanghai Dragons and how everybody is comparing this Overwatch World Cup Chinese roster to them. They are not the same. These are some of the top players in all of China. Shanghai Dragons was corrupted and they selected not the best players last year. So they are not a reflection to this Chinese team, and I feel they are evenly matched up going against Finland. So this is going to be a crazy match. We started off on the Lijiang Tower and expected head-to-head both teams. Finland was able to pick up the first round control center. It was goats v goats. Going into this match though, there was one thing that we knew Finland would be better at, and that is running the go and tanky comps. Because of this, control center was obviously their playpen. Let's see some highlights.
Yeah, because they don't have a Zenyatta to have that damage over time, that consistent pressure with the Discord orb. It has to be a sick bio nade. They're going to push forward aggressively like this one, but nice little knockdown, and Gavin is very charged up. Graviton surged in, and everyone's caught on that one. This is going to hurt. Cover your eyes, children. Sky down. Gushue charged up against the wall. Even Vertalia, they're going to get shoved on out of this one.
He lands a big shatter here of his own. He's going to see it from the Reinhardt POV, just playing that shield game. He connects with a few players.
Sound barrier's there.
No follow-up. The sound barrier comes through.
Self-destructing over the top here. Finland just looking over their shoulders. Fraggy studiously holds up the shield to make sure his team aren't affected by the self-destruct whatsoever. Gushue, Lei Young, and co all push back off the point here, and Gushue's a little bit isolated from the rest of his team. Hurriedly, he scurries back to his backline. Fraggy, cheeky attempt there to get that Earth Shatter in behind the shield. But the Chinese squad have run out of time in this first round. 100 to 17%.
So control center didn't go in favor of China, but we swapped over to Gardens, and quite shockingly, China was able to run goats and take down Finland in this round.
And then just do damage outside of it. Try not to die.
Well, because the biotic grenade is such a huge cooldown, a huge ability here in this type of composition. You deny healing, and the other team's playing 3 healers. Pretty decent value.
Look at how much charge he has. Look at how close he is. He gets another Graviton surge. Gushue charges in and says, "Don't mind if I do." And I wasn't quite invited to the party, Gushue, but it's not like Finland really had a choice. Big Earth Shatter, 3 players knocked down. Gushue now inside the Graviton, leaves there. Good body grenade from China to try to keep themselves alive, and it may have just paid off. Zach was knocked up against the wall. And again, it is Gushue's Reinhardt headlining that particular fight with a beautiful Earth Shatter. Self-destruct would hit, get rid of the Reinhardt shield. It didn't quite work, but the Reinhardts have traded each other off here in terms of life. Finland have a lot of health right now because Taimu started the fight off by using that rally ability. So the armor is definitely going a long way for them right now. 99 to 41% now. It's going to be nano boosted. Brigitte, yeah, it's pretty filthy. A lot of durability, especially if she pops her rally during the mid-fight. Zappos comes in now with that self-destruct. He finds 2. He absolutely needed to find Sky and Evil Talon. Lay it down. Shy now can't do too much more except try and swing and flail, no pun intended. But Gushue's back in the fight. Zappos is in trouble and they got off the points.
That's right, guys. Finland C9'd and China picked up their first round on Gardens. Now, to be fair, Leave and Guju were both fragging near the end there. They picked up 3 kills, so I think that was going to go in favor of China anyways. We moved on to the last round, and China, they brought out the big guns. We saw some wild comps. Guju was running all over on the ball. Oh, man, it was exciting. Let's check out the highlights.
The Transcendence here. Again, they want to maintain control of the point for as long as they possibly can. Taimu's Deadeye is denied. Gushue removes him from the equation before he can get that one off. Devastating as it would have been. And with the Transcendence, Shaz is clearing the mines. He can't be blown up or affected by them when he's in that form, so he's both giving healing, but also literally doing janitorial work for Finland in this fight. Shaz goes down, so Shy was actually able to isolate him, but Sky is also removed. So there's Zenyatta now for China. That's a big part of their healing that's going to be missing. He was working towards his next Transcendence.
And Finland wants to commit to this fight, Mitch, because it's gone so long that if they don't kind of commit on this second attempt with players coming off of spawn.
I really want to express how good some of these Chinese players are. Specifically, their off-tank Lei Young. He was incredible. The angles his Diva bombs were taking were so tricky and intricate. Nobody knew where they were going to land. Specifically on this round, he picked up so many huge kills. Let's go and roll it and see how China took this map.
Taimu sitting very far back. That is what we definitely consider passive positioning for a McCree, but he has to play this way right now. There's so many things up here that can cause him problems. Devon blocks off that Earth Shadow, but Taimu is actually grounded right now. He manages to pick himself back up to his feet. He rolls forward into that engagement. He's got a lot of damage now. McCree's so good late in the fight for a cleanup, and that self-destruct gets two! How is that even possible? Finland allowed themselves to lose both of their supports, or two of them at the very least, to that self-destruct. And now Gushue and the rest of China will absolutely oblige and step forward to finish the fight quickly. Healing later on in the fight for the rest of his team. Gushue's down. Taimu finished the job. The self-destruct this time doesn't find any targets except for Zappos' mech. And Taimu's playing a little bit safe right now, giving himself some distance, able to give that repair pack over towards Fraggy as he continues to push forward and keep swinging. Fraggy's done a lot of damage and has had a lot of ultimates, but Finland not able to take the point. This is where they absolutely need to be able to push forward with Davin. This late grab has to be the answer for them. It didn't get eaten, but it only catches Late Young. He starts out against the wall. He doesn't get kept alive. The mech is removed from the equation, but Finland have to get to the point. Overtime is ticking down. Shai finds two. It's Fraggy and Devon both fall to the brigade. Are unbelievable. China in a position to turn this around. Finland don't get a foot on the point, and they give away map number 1 to China. And we thought they wouldn't bring the tanks in, Matt, but they did.
So China, shocking the world just like Team UK, picking up the very first map. We're now moving on to Hollywood, and we're now going to see if they can keep the momentum rolling or if Finland is going to be able to turn this set around early. The Chinese team started off on attack first, and well, all I can say is they were rolling. Once again, incredible plays coming out from the tank line, Late Young and Guju, but also Crystal, the hit scan player, making a name for himself on that Widowmaker, the McCree. Geez, this whole roster is actually so talented, and I really do wish we could have seen some of these players last year in the Overwatch League, but hey, a lot of them are signed going into Season 2, so I'm excited for that. Let's take a look at the highlights.
To get into these fights and get out quick after finding himself a brace of kills. First things first, he drops down towards the low ground here as China wasted no time in coming towards the point. They are playing a dive-centric composition, which means they literally want to dive on you. There's a mutual knockdown between the two of them, but I guess what? Leave had a little bit more protection than Linksa did in that case, and Fraggy had already fallen. So Finland tried to go for, a very similar composition defensively, one that also wants to get aggressive, finds out that perhaps they just extended a little bit too far, or could never really get started.
It looks like they're going to go back for a touch here as Davin tries to get a hack off and leave. That rocket punch sends him flying right into the wall. Right to his death, as I know now they're going to have to back up off the point, and this will go over to China very quickly.
It's a 1-for-1 trade, but Finland were the ones that used EMP in this fight. They need more.
So Gushue will use Primal Rage to get up to the high ground, and don't really mind even being hacked. You have no chance of dying here. That'll be the nano boost. Let's see what they decide to do with it. Look at these supports. They're getting so low.
Big Goose is in deep trouble. He was lucky to get away. Gushue had to just sort of take his foot off the gas for a moment and round back and help the rest of his team do a Zappos on the payload. But China, they are so good at playing this aggressive brand of Overwatch, Matt. And Finland have been getting isolated and taken down one at a time. A lot of things that need to be satisfied here, but right now he's trying to make sure China's backline doesn't get free damage on the rest of his teammates. Now he knows he needs to push forward. He gets a repair pack briefly, and that's the Earth Shadow, but Lei Young was the only one close enough to be damaged by it. Everyone from China can sit back at long range and just pummel this shield down. So much damage available now. The self-destruct coming in over the top. It does get Zappos out of his mech. Fraggy wants to return to the point. Lee pushes up. Linksa knocked into the background here. He tries to charge forward. A late Soundberry coming in. It won't quite be enough, though. Even that, Linksa has to step back. He got hit by a Bardic grenade, and Gushue drops down. Lee still staying in the front line here. Fraggy's getting low. The War of Attrition is looking pretty good for the Chinese squad here. Up in the air is Linksa knocked. Big Goose trying to come forward. He has a little bit of health in that Lucio, but again, it's 6 versus 1 for him. It's all too hard. Linksa trying to stall things out on the payload now on a self-destruct to buy some time. It gets the DC on Lei Young, but again, who is there from Finland? The answer, no one!
Gushue with those 2 Primal Rages towards the end. Get this, he doesn't die at all there. Doesn't die at all, the whole first side.
As I said, China with the blazing fast attack, shutting down Finland's defense super hard. With their aggressive, sloppy playstyle, Finland did not know what to do, and once Finland swapped onto their attack, they tried to run goads, but again, it wasn't enough for this crazy dive sloppy play.
Get into the backline, remove Shaz, especially early in the fight. That's what happened. Yeah. Finland lost Shaz right at the beginning of the fight, and it's going to be hard to keep him alive against this setup for China. They're looking so good, and we're in overtime already now for Finland to try and get even second stage done. That might be it. Zappos taken down by Lei Young. Only 4 players left on the side of Finland here. It is looking dire indeed. Sky sets the nano boost away, and Gushue is going to be more than happy to lap up the distressed Omnic. Jumping forward now, and it will just be Linksa to be removed, and overtime is about done. And China, oh, they're more than one step ahead, I'll tell you that. Miles ahead of Finland.
China looking extremely dominant on the second map. We now moved on to Hanamura, and hopefully Finland could battle back and make this a more competitive series. And it seemed like that was going to be the case with Finland coming back. They had a much better first attack than the Chinese team, but on the Chinese team's second attack, they blazed through first and second point with only a minute.
Oh, that's pretty nasty. That's right in the corridor. Shaz immediately taken down by Lee, but Linksa following now. Oh, Zappers. What can you do about that one? Even the sound barrier used by China. This is quite astonishing. They have 40 seconds left in the round. It looks like they might actually be able to finish the entire map. That's a huge way of turning things on their heads. Transcendence comes to the point, but Shaz is a little bit sad. There's no one to benefit from his healing. He's going to pop out of Transcendence and immediately crumble. One tick on the point for China now. Finland getting set up to try and stall this out as much as they can. Gushua has Primal Rage though. He can stop Zappos entirely. There is someone contesting on the point, but Zappos won't have a chance to do that himself. It is Big Goose down. Links are removed, and China! Oh, Lord!
And Zappos has self-destructs there, and he's never able to get to the point to use it because he gets hacked up.
And that was it, guys. That was the beginning of the end for Finland. China with a 3-0 upset. Incredible. Take a look at these last moments.
He's also hacked out as well. Finland actually have been given a lot of space. They're very afraid of all this damage. See, Gushue drops in, stunned initially, but now Primal Rage on that high ground. You can see the self-destruct thrown in the back. There's nowhere to go! Nowhere to hide! Big Goose fragging Davin, all taken down by Leia, and that placement was absolutely stellar. Gushue, one arm of the pincer, the other. It's a bit of a non-bow, really, because they've self-destructs forcing people out of sight lines. Linksa wants them to be in those. And now the Transcendence comes out after the fact. Shaz is down. Link switch to the Widowmaker. A little bit of spice here. Zappa's trying to stay alive behind the little pillar, but no, he's eventually pushed back, and Leave is down to red hell. It's Linksa, second on the chopping block. Big Goose not far behind, and somehow China might be able to take this map away. They were so far behind, and yet Gushue knows it just doesn't matter. Zappas desperately trying to get back towards the point. Now we're in overtime. Finland was supposed to take this. They were supposed to take it to one more map, but instead it's China to stand tall. And now the Giants from the north will be sent back home.
So, you know, we've had a lot of upsets today. You know, very close games. This